It's great to be joined by Mr. Robert Craven. Robert founded the Directors Centre, which is a consultancy that works specifically with agency owners and directors on achieving their growth plans. He's done a huge amount of work with Google partners, so again working with digital agencies on how they can achieve faster growth. And through all that experience, he's going to be sharing some of those learnings with us today. So what differentiates a successful agency leader versus one that's working in an agency that's maybe not doing so well? And what are some of the main challenges that are holding agencies back from achieving further growth?
Hello, I'm Robert Craven. I'm Managing Director of the Directors Centre, the consultancy for fast-growing businesses, but particularly agencies.
Firstly, Robert, thank you so much for coming down. It's really, really good to have you here. I know you've worked with maybe thousands of agencies, certainly a lot, and certainly analysed quite a few of them. And you did a really interesting study that was looking at, I think, 257 agencies, looking at the ones that are performing really well, the ones that are maybe plodding along a little bit. What did you learn from that? What were some of the key attributes of those that were achieving high growth?
So this is the Magic Million survey. So basically we took 257 agencies who were literally just plodding along. They weren't doing anything. They'd got stuck, you know, the guys. They dreamed they could be doing something special. And we also took 257 who were the magic millionaires, who had the money, who had the Lamborghini, who had the £1 million in the pocket, who had the £1 million in cash, or they'd grown to $1 million turnover in 3 years. That was kind of the thing. And we asked lots of questions. This is for a particular client. But the one main question we asked was to both groups of people, the magic millionaires and to the wannabes, what's holding you back from running the agency you really want to run? With the wannabes, we literally had 257 different answers. But the key was every one of them started with the word they. They the bank, they the accountant, they the competition, they the staff, they the Brexit, they the European Commission, they the government, it was always they. It was never, ever their fault. And it's this thing about psychologists call it an external locus of control. Things outside you are influencing you, like, oh my God, I don't know what happened. They put too much alcohol in my beer. Oh my God, I don't know what happened. They put a lamppost behind my car. Never ever their fault. When you talk to the magic millionaires, the ones who'd made it, you got an entirely different answer. When you said to them, what's holding you back, or what was holding you back when you were back then, they all say with one voice, there's one thing that was holding me back, and that was me. I was the bottleneck. I was petrified about putting prices up, putting prices down, employing more people, employing less people. I was petrified about whether we had the right clients or we had the wrong clients. I had to have my hand, my fingers, my eyes on everything, and so much so that I ended up not being able to make any decision. And it was only when I recognised that I was the problem, and it was only when I recognised that I need to take responsibility for stuff, that suddenly everything started happening for them. Suddenly it's like a tipping point that they actually started to feel in control. They took decisions that they felt in control of. So what's the difference? It's a mindset thing. Okay,
that's really interesting, and I'm sure that will resonate with a few agency directors watching. But other than the director themselves, in terms of holding that agency back, what are some of the other barriers to growth that you've come across?
Well, there's kind of there's flips on this. It's the kind of the stuff that they don't do rather than the stuff that they do. So at one level, it's all about answering that basic question about where are we going. They just don't have a clue. They're so busy looking up their own backsides, working in the business, getting into the business at 7 o'clock on a Monday morning, opening up the emails, watching the stuff come in. But they lose control of the business. They don't have this sense of steering it and taking ownership. The tail wags the dog, so to speak. They don't actually take ownership of what they're doing. Strategy, I guess. So as a consequence of that, they don't have a control over having the right management. They don't have the right business model. They don't market properly. They don't have the right measures in place. So everything starts falling apart.
Okay. And I guess at the top, leaders of agencies, Other than those that recognise that they need to delegate, they need to bring in the right skills to help them facilitate the growth that they want to achieve, what are some of the other commonalities between really successful leaders?
Well, the really good ones, when you can almost tell it when you know what I mean. You can almost tell it when you meet them. You can almost tell it by the shoes they're wearing and the watch they're wearing and how they wear it. There's a sense of confidence and a sense of ownership of the business. So they're obsessed with, all the research supports this on agencies as well as in business in general. Really great businesses, really great agencies are obsessed with strategy. Where the hell are we going? They're really obsessed with marketing. How on earth are we going to sell this stuff? They're really obsessed with teams. Why can't we get on better? And more importantly, how can we communicate better with our clients and with the people who we work with? So strategy, marketing, teams. And it feels almost like this is like business 101 stuff.
I guess all of that is going to deliver the results you want if you've got the right proposition or it's packaged in the right way. You've seen so many agency propositions and I know, same as me, sometimes you can see how homogenous they are and how similar they sound. What in your view cuts through that and really builds a compelling agency proposition?
Well, let's just do the flip. Let's just be clear about the flip side, yeah? You and I, nearly every agency you meet, they employ similar people with similar qualifications from similar universities using similar software and similar hardware to do similar pieces of work for similar clients, which is sold at similar prices using similar websites and similar proposals to sell to similar people who are wanting similar things. And the whole thing is just so beige and blancmange, it just drives me bonkers. And to the point where I think agencies can't recognise their own website against anyone else's, never mind their own proposal. So what do these guys need to do about it? Let's just flip this one round. I mean, the question is, in all that noise, how do you stand out? And I kind of always feel with this one that this is teaching grandma to suck eggs. This is the stuff that these agencies are actually doing with clients, and yet we, and I'll include myself, because really I'm just talking to a mirror here, we're not necessarily able to actually nail this one. So it's about being different and standing out from the noise. So how do you do that? Well, I think there's a couple of different bits. So the first bit is, if you want to sell, there are three things you need to have in your proposals and your proposition. So the one is overt business benefit. You need to talk numbers and money. The last client who did a similar thing to what we're intending to do now saw an ROI of 200%. They saw 5 times our fee come back in terms of bottom line profit in the first 3 months, something like that. So one is overt business benefit. Second one is a real reason to believe you can deliver. That's testimonials and case studies and research. And the third thing is a dramatic difference. So overt business benefit, real reason to believe, dramatic difference. If the propositions and the way you're talking about things to people has that in it, then it stands a difference. So next we move to, okay, how do you actually package that together? And that's, elevator pitch, which is in my book and it's in countless other books, but something along the lines of, when someone says, what do you do? We work with these people who have this problem. What we do is this, so that this, which means that. The point about this, we work with, have a problem with, what we do is so that, which means, is we've got to identify who we work with. So ideally that's a niche, either in terms of product or in terms of market. So we don't do all things for all people. And even better, a niche within a niche. That's what I really like. And then we've got to recognize that it's not about what we do, because they're not really interested in that. I mean, if they want more customers, all they care about is more customers. They don't care whether we do that with, fly drop, or whether we do that on email, or whether we do that with TV ads. They just want more customers. So they're not interested in what we do. They're not interested even in how we do it. They're only interested in what it does for them. So they're interested in the afters. So unless we pitch on the afters, what they get from working with us, they lose the will to live. And you and I have watched pitches which are just like, we were set up in 1997 and it's just like death, not talk about the right thing. Final bit, to my mind, and I actually think this is the secret sauce, is our clients are really fed up with this kind of pitch fest or whatever, proposal fest. And I actually think there's a different way of working it, even though we have to go through RFPs and ITTs and so on and so forth. And that's that straightforward, direct contact with the client where you're saying, Mr. and Mrs. Client, how do you feel at the moment about the way this particular piece of work, this type of work is being conducted in your agency, in your business at the moment? And the client says, well, actually, I feel quite frustrated. I feel that we're not getting the ROI. I've got to report to the FD, and I don't feel we're getting value for money, and I feel that we're not quite placed in the market where we want to be. So tell me, how would you like to feel about the agency work that's taking place in your business? And they'll say, I'd like to have some confidence we're going to hit the numbers. I'd like to know that the website's getting the numbers we're getting. I'd like to have a confidence that we're getting it discussed in all the right places. But more important, I'd like to know that we're getting the right ROI on it. And you just say, if that's how you'd like to feel, we can do that for you.
Robert, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today. I know you've helped lots and lots of agencies along the way, and there's some really good guidance in there, so thank you.
Thank you.